Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It seems so natural to be doing what we're doing here in the holy Dham of Dwaraka. Hearing the pastimes of Krishna in Dwaraka. One of Krishna's qualities described in Nectar Devotion is he's expert. And one of the aspects of expert is by doing one thing, he's simultaneously doing many things. And to understand even one of those many things is very mysterious. One of those mysteries is how can the limited understand the unlimited? And the answer is, you can't. Praise to Krishna, his inexplicable, contradictory pastimes. Who can understand? In his commentary, Vishwanath says, some say this and some say that. Who is going to decide? And he said, no one can decide. But it seems quite sensible, logical, that the inexplicableness of Krishna should be inexplicable. So we can get some glimpse of the unlimited, but he still remains unlimited. And even the little glimpse of the unlimited is very inspiring. I find it like that. Manmana, we've been hearing about the importance of remembering Krishna, thinking of Krishna. Man, the mind. Mana, thinking of Krishna. It's very logical and natural. That what you're attached to is what you think of. The miser is thinking of his money. The lusty man or woman is thinking of the object of their lust. They don't have to be told, now think of the object of your lust. The mind goes there. The fearful person thinks of the object that's causing the fear. The mind just goes there. And et cetera, et cetera. Whatever you're attached to, that's where the mind goes. So if you're going to think of Krishna, you have to become attached to Krishna. And how are you going to become attached to Krishna if you don't know who is Krishna? Well, you can be religious and say something. You do things that are to be done. So that's a beginning. There's some faith in Krishna, so you do the things that are to be done and don't do the things that are not to be done, like that. But that's not manmana, it's not the mind going to Krishna. We've been hearing one whose mind is with Krishna. Krishna offers something very special. He reciprocates and gives his protection, and he removes distress, the feeling of distress, etc. So back to the initial message I just shared, it seems very natural to be doing what we're doing. Just getting a clearer picture of who Krishna is so that we can become appreciative of Krishna, attached to Krishna, and always think of Krishna and carry that thought of Krishna with us wherever we go. And then go to Krishna. A little Prabhupada exchange that I've shared many times, but it's appropriate. Without all the detail, Prabhupada explained, I am always with Krishna. I know that as my disciples you like to hear, oh, Prabhupada's now in India, and soon he'll be going to Calcutta because then he's going to go to Japan, and he did these things in Japan, and then he went to Australia and New Zealand. He visited the farm, and he had these exchanges with different professors and scholars and religious people. And then he went to Hawaii, and he was working on his translation. And you hear all these things about me. I know you do these things. And now I've come to Los Angeles. Prabhupada was in his quarters in Los Angeles, saying, I know you do all these things, but I want you to know that actually I'm always with Krishna. Because being with Krishna is a matter of consciousness. You can be wherever you are doing whatever you're doing and be with Krishna by Krishna consciousness, because Krishna reciprocates with your thinking of him. And again, you think of that which you're attached to. It's very natural. Unfortunately, we have attachment for the temporary. We think of the self in terms of the temporary. It's our source of happiness or distress, and so forth. That's our misfortune. So we're getting fortune instead of misfortune by this wonderful narration of Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka. He manifested these pastimes, especially for the pleasure and benefit of his devotees. He could have taken care of annihilating the demons some other way. Could have had somebody else do it or whatever he wanted to do. But his pastimes are there to show us his loving nature and attract us to be part of that loving experience with him. So of late we've been describing after Krishna established Dwaraka, from that situation of Jarasandha and Kalyavana attacking with their so many Akshohini divisions of soldiers from different directions to protect, at least externally in Leela, to protect the Yadu dynasty from any difficulty. Krishna had Vishvakarma build the city of Dwaraka. He transferred the Yadu members to Dwaraka and situated them in their residential quarters. Then he returned back to Mathura. We didn't narrate, but we will, that Kaliyavana being destroyed by Muchukunda, then Krishna going back to the battlefield, destroying the rest of the soldiers of Kaliyavana, taking the booty, the gold and the ornaments from the battlefield on bullock carts to take them to Ugrasena, being challenged by Jarasandha, Krishna running with Balaram from the battlefield, climbing up a mountain, jumping off the mountain, for the purpose of coming to Dwaraka to marry Rukmini. On the way, Balaram married Revati. We'll hear more about that. Just following the flow of Krishna's pastimes, coming to Dwaraka, and naturally, there's Dwaraka, there's Krishna, there must be Krishna's internal potency. Must be. And by Leela, it was manifest, his marriage with Rukmini. So the flow goes, chapters 52, 53, 54, the marriage with Rukmini, and that little exchange with Rukmi. 55, we didn't discuss it all. Chapter 55 is the story of Pradyumna, the first son of Rukmini. Not his whole life, but a particular episode of his life that goes like when he was just still 10 days old. He was kidnapped. Now imagine, he's one of the Chaturvyuha forms of the Lord, and he was kidnapped when he was 10 years old. Anyway, then the whole chapter describes the flow of events. Chapter 56, we're going to hear just now, 56 and 57. That's after the marriage of Rukmini, wives 2 and 3. Jambavati and Satyabhama. That's chapter 56. And 7 is the father of Satyabhama was killed by Satadhanva. Krishna came and chased Satadhanva, etc. There's those series of events. Again, Krishna was called a bad name. Lies were told about Krishna in Dwaraka, etc. So that's chapter 57. Krishna settled that. We'll hear that. 56, 57. In the morning we heard 58. Krishna marries the 5 queens. So that's 3 plus 5 is 8. And then now we're also going to hear what comes right after that. Chapter 59 is the 16,100 queens. And more about Satyabhama. That's chapter 59. So this is all Dwaraka Leela, events that took place here, or in relation to Dwaraka at least. So Krishna brought his queens and resided with them. The next chapter we have also already, in summary, heard, and that's after the marriage of the 16,100 queens. Narada decides, I want to go visit Dwaraka and see what it's like in Dwaraka. So we've heard that description. We're just hearing in Dwaraka the Srimad Bhagavatam's message, which is sublime, very sublime. Krishna is just disclosing his personality and his qualities and his loving exchange in varieties of very interesting ways. And at least for us, we can meditate on, this is all for the pleasure of Krishna. Now, the pleasure of Krishna is the pleasure of Krishna's devotees, and the pleasure of Krishna's devotees is the pleasure of Krishna. And that's nice. It's called love. Prema rasa, prema bhakti. So it's varieties of rasa. It's an ocean of rasa. Beneath the oil is the ocean, and within the ocean is unlimited variety of exchanges of love. So we're going to begin chapter 56, the marriage of Jambavati, in the following way. Chapter 56 begins with the description of a king whose name is Satrajit. And Satrajit was known in Dwaraka, but he didn't have Krishna bhakti. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, those that don't have devotion for me, in part it's because they're attached to material opulence. And he was attached to material opulence, and so he was a worshiper of the sun god. And Bhagavatam describes he spent hours every day, especially the morning hour when the sun rises, before the sun rises, Brahma Muhurta, and when the sun rises, chanting prayers to the sun god, Vivaswan. And making, because he was a king, making lavish offerings to the sun god Vivaswan every day for hours and hours before King Satrajit. Brilliant as the sun, right in his palace. And said, "You pleased me very much by your ardent devotion for me, so I'd like to reciprocate with you and give you a gift." The gift was the gift of the Syamantaka jewel. Famous pastime. As with the marriage of Rukmini takes 3 chapters, this takes 2 chapters. The Syamantaka jewel is a big item in relation to Krishna's Dwaraka Leela. Vivaswan, the sun god, said, not only this jewel is effulgent, it's as effulgent as I am. In Harivamsa, it even says it's the effulgence of the sun. It gives a different description. I won't go there, but it's Satrajit came before the sun god. It's a different description. And he started offering prayers saying, "I'd like to see your form, but I can't see your form because there's effulgence. Can you remove your effulgence?" So the sun god has a necklace. Hanging from the necklace is the Syamantaka jewel. He takes it off and places it to the side so that Satrajit can see his form. And they have this conversation. According to Harivamsa, Vivaswan is kind of testing him to see how greedy he is, because he knows he wants material opulence. He wants to know, do you want me or do you want the jewel? Satrajit apparently understands that he's being examined, so he wants to get an A instead of an F in his exam. So he doesn't even look at the jewel, he just continues offering words of praise to the sun god. And just before they part, "Oh, by the way, could I have this jewel?" That's Harivamsa. Bhagavatam doesn't say it like that. He came directly to his palace and gave him the jewel. And then said, not only this effulgence is there, but if worshipped properly, 70 pounds of gold. Is that right? 70? 70 or 140? How many pounds? 70. She's the reference source over here. 70 pounds of gold every day. And no disease, no irregularity of weather, everything is nice. No, adibotic miseries. Satrajit said, "How did you know? You know exactly my heart and you've perfectly satisfied me. Gee, thanks." And the sun god disappeared. Now I'll repeat something that I've said many times, this little math formula. The fruit of past pious deeds plus a heart that's impure equals pride. That's what happened. His heart wasn't pure because he wasn't interested in a pure heart. He was interested in opulence, and he got the fruit of that desire for opulence, but his heart was impure, so he became very proud. And there's this saying, I think it's a Shakespearean saying, but pride goeth before the fall. It's from somewhere. Satrajit became proud, unfortunately. That which was meant to be the source of his good fortune became the source of all misfortune because of attachment to his wealth and pride that goes with that attachment. Beware, devotees. Beware of pride. It doesn't take a Syamantaka jewel to get somebody proud. Beware of pride. I'll say it again. Beware of pride. It can destroy everything good. He became proud. So, wearing the jewel on a necklace, he rode into the city of Dwaraka. Bhagavatam uses the word prancing. I don't know what the word is in Hindi or Chinese. Prancing, like strutting, showing off. Into the city of Dwaraka. Now because he's the residents of Dwaraka, they thought, wow, the sun god has come to pay his respects to dear Lord Krishna, Achyuta, the infallible, supreme creator of everything. Now they knew Satrajit from his personal appearance, but because he was wearing this jewel, they couldn't see him, they could just see this effulgence. So that's why they thought it was the sun god. And they scurried to where Krishna and Balaram were, and they were in a leisurely way. Some references say they were playing dice, some say they were playing chess. They were occupied in that kind of a way. And they offered prayers to Krishna saying, "Oh, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all persons worship you, and the sun god has come to worship you." Well, he didn't come to worship Krishna. He just passed right by Krishna's palace and didn't come to pay respects to Krishna at all, because he was filled with himself, pride. And Krishna said, "That's not the sun god. That's Satrajit. You didn't recognize him because of the jewel that he's wearing, but it's Satrajit. It's not the sun god." Krishna he's compassionate. He understood this man is very proud. He wanted to relieve him gently of his pride. He was thinking of ways, he's human-like, Leela, thinking of ways to relieve Satrajit of his pride. Meanwhile, Satrajit had a big yajna, something like what Daksha did but didn't invite Lord Shiva. He had a big yajna, invited everybody except Krishna. to install his Syamantaka jewel on an altar. The Brahmanas were there doing their thing, and he just neglected Krishna. Offense number 2. Didn't pay his respects, neglecting Krishna. Here comes offense number 3. Krishna considered, to relieve Satrajit of his pride, I'll ask for something religious. And something religious is the greatest opulence should go to the treasury of the king. So he went to Satrajit's home. Rather than calling Satrajit to come to see him, he went to Satrajit's home. There's a gesture in itself. And made this request. Please give the jewel to Ugrasena, because it's religious to do that. Satrajit said no. He didn't say maybe or let me think about it. He just gave him a no. Because his consideration is better to have the 70 pounds of gold every day. He was attached to the wealth that the Syamantaka jewel represented. Offense number 3 resulted in, has reaction. Oh, I said this earlier, but no harm in saying it again and again and again and again and again. Offense isn't just like a trick, some kind of conspiratorial way of getting people to have good behavior. It doesn't really happen. It's not like there's reaction to offense or something like that. It's just kind of what you say to children to get them to eat their vegetables or something. Make you strong like Popeye, or, eat your spinach. Those of you from India don't know Popeye. Those of you from America, you